DSS rescues 25 kidnapped victims in Plateau State. Tax committee boss refutes KPMG's alleged tax errors in Nigeria. Low food prices turn bumper harvest into debt burden for Niger farmers. On the international scene, Gambian authorities intercept 780 migrants trying to reach Europe. Hello there, good evening and welcome to the news update on Trust TV. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. We begin in Plateau State, where the state government has announced the rescue of 25 individuals kidnapped on December 21st, 2025 in Wase, local government area of the state. The secretary to the state government, Samuel Jato, disclosed this while briefing journalists at the Redfield Government House in Jos, the Plateau State capital, accompanied by state commissioners and a DSS official. Jato explained that the victims, 6 females and 19 males, were traveling for Eid el-Maulud celebrations when kidnappers disguised as vigilantes abducted them. 3 others in the vehicle escaped during the incident. He said the rescued individuals received medical checks and are in good condition with only minor injuries. The victims have been handed over to officials from Wase local government area. Jato commended the DSS for their role in the rescue operation and urged the local government to provide psychological support, assuring that the Plateau State government will continue to support the victims before they are reunited with their families. The Nigerian Air Force under Operation Hadinke has recorded another major success in its fight against terrorism in northeast Nigeria. NAF air assets carried out a coordinated air interdiction at Agbaga Jiri in Timbuktu Triangle of Borno State, following credible multi-source intelligence indicating the presence of terrorist structures and concealed logistic facilities. According to the Director of Public Relations and Information at the Nigerian Air Force Headquarters, Air Commodore Ehime Ejodame, the operation involved integrated surveillance and precision strikes against identified targets. He said the mission was carefully executed to degrade terrorist capabilities, deny them safe havens, and support ground forces while strictly adhering to rules of engagement and the protection of non-combatants. Reacting to the success, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sunday Anike, says the operation reflects the Air Force's determination to dominate the airspace in support of joint operations. He reaffirmed the Nigerian Air Force operations will remain intelligence-driven and relentless. In other news, a chieftain of the All Progressive Congress in Oyo State, Wale Oriade, has regained his freedom after spending 39 days in captivity. Oriade was abducted in December of last year at his office located in Akala, along the Akala Expressway in Ibadan. Eyewitnesses say the attackers arrived in a blue micro vehicle and forcefully took him away. Confirming the development, the Oyo State Police Public Relations Officer, of the APC, Wale Sadare, said Oriade was released on Saturday. Investigations revealed that a ransom was paid before his release, although details remain unclear. Now, the chairman of the Presidential Tax and Fiscal Policy Reforms Committee, Tayo Oyedele, has responded to concerns raised by KPMG Nigeria on the country's newly gazetted tax laws, insisting most issues highlighted were misunderstandings of policy intent or disagreements with deliberate reform choices. Oyedele said while some points raised by KPMG were useful, the bulk of the report mischaracterized the objectives and the structure of the new tax framework. He clarified key positions, including the taxation of shares, dividend treatment, and non-resident obligations, emphasizing that most investors would benefit from exemptions or relief under the new law. The chairman also explained that indirect transfers of shares, insurance premium exemptions, and rules on foreign exchange transactions were deliberate policy measures aligned with global best practices and fiscal objectives. He dismissed fears of market disruption while noting that any concerns around dividend taxation or small company exemptions were either intentional policy choices or predated the new laws. Minor clerical inconsistencies, he said, are being addressed through administrative guidance. Oyedele also concluded by saying that the reforms are comprehensive, aiming at improving fairness, competitiveness, and revenue generation, and reflects deliberate policy choices rather than errors or oversight. To Niger State now, where rural farmers are expressing frustration over what they describe as mass arrests by creditors over unpaid loans, even as food prices continue to crash. For many, this year's bumper harvest brings little joy as low market prices make it difficult to repay loans taken during the planting season. Trust TV's Abubakar Akote has more.
Instead of celebrating a fruitful season, farmers face mounting financial pressure as the continuous drop in the price of food produce threatens their livelihoods. Many borrowed from banks, cooperatives, and local lenders, but with prices falling, repayment has become a heavy burden. Some of the farmers who spoke to Trust TV on the challenges highlighted the impact on families, food security, and the future of agriculture in the state. Many of us now face cases in courts and police stations over unpaid loans. We were giving input loans, especially for fertilizer at high cost. Meanwhile, price of farm produce are very low. For example, 100 tubers of yam, known as korea, now sell for only 10,000 naira, while a bag of fertilizer costs 60,000 naira. Because of this debt burden, many farmers cannot afford even basic plans like going on arch.
Farming is a business. For now, farmers are running at loss. What is happening? They are running at loss. The way most of them go into loan, and they cannot be able to pay their money back to, because they are running at loss. There is no how they can be able to pay it, because they go into loan, they borrow money. After farming now, they cannot be able to pay it back. A bag of rice is almost 30,000 naira, 28,000 and 25,000 naira. How can we be able to go to the farm? And the Basque government, at least, they should try to subsidize fertilizers, chemicals.
I was able to get married, but 5 of my siblings who also plan to marry have not. Price of farm produce have dropped, while the cost of materials like zinc and nails is high. We have had to sell our farm produce to pay loans, leaving our construction and marriage plans unfinished. I am seriously affected. I plan to complete a house I started last year, but the low price of produce have ruined that plan. Many farmers in my village have been arrested over unpaid loans, not because they refuse to pay, but because falling food prices make repayment impossible. This is the first time creditors are taking such action. An agribusiness expert with Family and Care Farm, Germany, Professor Olalekan Shakaria, urged the Nigerian government to prioritize local food production. Farmers are calling for policies that balance consumer protection with support for local producers to encourage sustainable agriculture and protect livelihoods. Trust TV's Abubakar Akote reports from Niger State.
To Lagos now, where a fire outbreak has gutted Taraba State, where a fire outbreak has gutted a section of the Wukari local government secretariat in Taraba State, destroying property worth millions of naira and disrupting administrative operations. Confirming the incident, the Wukari local government chairman, Bala Hussaini, says the fire broke out shortly after he left the office for an official engagement. He was alerted by a security operative from the Taraba State Security Marshal. Initial efforts to extinguish the fire were hampered as the Federal University Wukari Fire Service could not operate due to lack of resources. The blaze was eventually brought under control through the combined efforts of council staff and other individuals present. Most administrative buildings were damaged, with only a section of the chairman's office spared. No casualties were recorded. The cause of the fire remains unknown and investigations are ongoing.
This Ukari local government right now is on fire. Ukari local government secretariat, it caught fire and it is burning down.
Now to Lagos, where the State Environmental Task Force has arrested 56 suspects during an operation to clean up the mainland area of Lagos State. The development was disclosed in a video shared on social media by the Lagos State Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources, Tukumbo Wahab. According to the Commissioner, the operation began at about 20 minutes past midnight on January 10th, 2026 as part of Task Force ongoing efforts to rid Lagos of criminal activities and environmental violations. The task force team focused on the Sele bus stop, where officers were able to clear the area of illegal activities obstructing free movement. During the exercise, chairs, tables and other items encroaching on the roadway were seized to restore traffic flow. A total of 56 suspects were arrested and are expected to be arraigned in court. The Commissioner says the operation is part of a continuous statewide cleanup drive aimed at maintaining environmental order and public safety. The Abure-led faction of the Labour Party says the recent statement by the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC on the withholding of access codes ahead of the February 18, 2026 FCT Area Council elections has nothing to do with the party's leadership. In a statement issued on Saturday, the party's National Publicity Secretary, Obiora Ifo, says this statement by INEC was merely explaining the judicial processes surrounding the election and the Commission's decision to await the conclusion of pending court cases before releasing the access codes. The faction accused former Senator and suspended party member Darlington Nwokocha of impersonation and deliberately misrepresenting INEC's position, claiming he falsely spoke for a non-existent caretaker committee. The Abure-led National Working Committee emphasized that under the new INEC leadership, headed by Professor Joash Amopiton, the Commission has regularized its relationship with the party, inviting its leadership to quarterly consultative meetings, issuing access codes for Ekiti and Osun governorship elections, and monitoring the party's NEC meetings and congresses across the country. According to the faction, these actions affirm Barrister Julius Abure and Umar Farouk as the duly recognized national chairman and national secretary of the Labour Party. To Lagos, where old foreign and Nigerian currencies, often forgotten in drawers and boxes, now fetching huge sums, far much higher than they were worth when they were still useful, just because of their face value. In Lagos, a growing number of Nigerians have turned the trade in obsolete coins and banknotes into a steady line of income driven by collectors and currency dealers hunting for rare pieces. Here's the report.
At the Moshalashi Alaja area of Agege in Lagos State, beneath a pedestrian bridge, trays of old currencies ranging from coins to banknotes from different countries are neatly displayed. These obsolete currencies attract passers-by, collectors and individuals who understand their cultural and historical value, often purchasing them for ceremonial and traditional purposes. Most of these traders dealing in old foreign and local currencies are from the northern part of the country. Despite their discontinued status, the traders have embraced the business as a major source of livelihood. Beyond old coins and banknotes, they also sell white cowries and empty white shells, commonly used for decoration, cultural tradition, and spiritual practices. The traders say sales mainly occur from Monday to Wednesday, although the items are displayed from Monday to Saturday. They do not operate on Sundays. Speaking to Trust Television, the dealers described the trade as lucrative, noting that they can make up to 10,000 naira daily. They added that business is usually slow at the beginning of the year, with peak periods during the middle of the year and election seasons when demand and prices increases.
500 naira they are selling. Yes. This one, 20 naira. They are selling 500 naira again. This one is Indian money. They are selling 2,000 naira. They sell it 1.5.
We are selling this morning Singapore 10 cents for Singapore with 500 naira. We are selling now. On this odd currency for the Canada, we are selling it 1,000 naira.
This one, 500. This one, 200. This one, 300.
Traders say they source old coins and banknotes from people who no longer value them, reselling to collectors and researchers who understand their historical, cultural, and ceremonial significance. Some of these currencies have become valuable assets, while others are displayed to educate younger generations and preserve Nigeria's economic and cultural history. They reveal that some Nigerian coins, especially those from 1975, are now very rare, having been converted into other products due to the valuable metallic content. With technological advancements, dealers believe obsolete coins and banknotes will continue to gain value, predicting that what seems worthless today could become a prized asset worth millions in the future.
Staying with developments in Lagos, a severe traffic congestion was reported on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway on Saturday following an accident involving a truck that toppled and blocked a section of the road. The incident occurred in the early hours of Saturday near Ogere Bridge, disrupting vehicles traveling towards Ibadan and neighboring communities. Motorists were forced to divert to opposite lane, triggering serious gridlock on the Lagos-bound carriageway and affecting movement towards Mowe, Ibafor and surrounding areas. The truck reportedly fell late on Friday night, but the congestion worsened as traffic volume increased on Saturday morning. Personnel from the Nigerian Police Force and Federal Road Safety Corps were deployed to the scene to manage traffic and restore free movement. Officials attribute the incident to a mechanical fault and say efforts were ongoing to clear the obstruction and reopen at least one lane to ease the hardship faced by motorists. Talking business now, the Dangote Petroleum Refinery has described media reports linking the surge in petrol imports in November of last year to a breakdown in its supply arrangements with marketers as, quote, inaccurate and misleading. In a statement, the refinery said no supply agreement had collapsed, noting that its engagement with marketers was deliberately structured to meet rising demand and improve access, competition, and efficiency. The refinery disclosed that supply under the marketers' arrangement began in October of 2025 at 600 million litres, rising to 900 million litres in November and further expanded to 1.5 billion litres in December. These figures, according to Dangote, is said are verifiable against depot and loading records. Dangote Refinery added that domestic petrol prices remain competitive and market responsive, dismissing claims that marketers withdrew due to pricing concerns. It said the November import surge was linked to licensing decisions by the former NMDPRA leadership unrelated to the refinery's operations or commitments. The company reaffirmed its commitment to reliable supply, transparency and collaboration with regulators to strengthen domestic refining, conserve foreign exchange and support Nigeria's energy security. To developments on the international scene, authorities in Gambia say they have intercepted more than 708 migrants at 3 different locations, all attempting to reach Europe via Spain's Canary Islands. Among those detained were 233 from Senegal, 197 from the Gambia, 176 from Guinea, and 148 from Mali. The operation comes just days after a boat capsized off the Gambian coast on New Year's Eve, killing more than 30 people. Officials say the recent increase in attempts is linked to heightened maritime patrols by Senegal, Mauritania and Morocco, which have forced vessels to depart from further south. The Interior Ministry says it has activated special operations teams to respond decisively to the surge, stressing concern over the growing number of migrants risking the dangerous Atlantic route. Tens of thousands of mostly young West Africans have attempted the perilous journey in recent years, often on overcrowded, unsafe boats, making this one of the world's most deadliest migration routes. To sports now, attendance at the ongoing 2025 Africa Cup of Nations has surpassed the 1 million mark, highlighting the growing appeal and commercial success of Africa's flagship football tournament, according to reports. Official figures show that over 1 million spectators have passed through turnstiles since the start of the competition, putting AFCON 2025 within reach of a new all-time attendance record. The current benchmark set at the 2023 edition stands at just over 1.1 million, meaning less than 60,000 additional fans are needed to break the record. Organizers say high-profile knockout fixtures, enhanced fans' engagement, and improved stadium facilities have driven the strong turnout, with the latter stages expected to attract even larger crowds. If trends continue, AFCON 2025 is on course not only to break the previous attendance record, but also set a new standard for fan participation in African football. And that wraps it up for the news update at this hour. Feel free to check in a little later at 9 o'clock for the news bulletin. But for now, you can stay in touch by following us across our social media platforms. Do visit our website, trusttv.com, for the latest news, programs and documentaries. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you for your time.